Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that, Sue.
Okay. Thank you, Parklands Poets. And I'm going to read from my book, Cold Middle Stairs, about my dad and dementia. I'm going to begin with a poem that talks about a test that's given to someone who's suspected of having memory difficulties, of maybe some kind of dementia. And in this test, a person is instructed to draw a clock face. This poem is called Hands and Face. It is true. I will remember the hands and face, the whole furious trickery of the thing. My mother tells how she dogged him to get all the numbers limned at their true points. Noon and midnight made for due north, 6 headed south. The clock becoming a demented compass, a supposed proof fumbled for in that doctor's office right before my dad was officially diagnosed. I don't know where his attempted drawings of clocks are today. I don't know how that sudden uncertain face triggered his ragged response, 3 and 9 left off, or the hands wayward and drawn in the blank outside the clock. I don't know why that wrong clock condemned him, tripped him up, making that day the day they told us with all accuracy it was dementia. My father didn't have Alzheimer's, which was the dementia that I had heard of before this happened to our family. He had another kind of dementia called Lewy body dementia. And I'm going to read a poem about that now. Lewy body. Those of you who know what this is may turn away, turn the page, and move on. You know everything you ever wanted to know about a dementia that fills the absolute area of all rooms with a Greek chorus of hallucinations, silent but commanding through the very fact of being in every room all the time, watching, taking everything in. Lewy body took from my mother too. Her lunch hour became racing home to check on my dad, now wandering. Dementia took her job, it took her peace. Dementia took my father and moved him to the hospital, and he was made to know everything about waiting for a long-term bed. Lewy body dementia filled his head and took his home, took his chair, his TV, and how he used to care when the Canadians beat whomever it was they beat. Lewy body took his speech, his hands that could no longer get hold of anything. Lewy body dementia took his mind, leaving diabetes, kidney failure, and double lung pneumonia to carve up the rest. Now you truly know everything. The next piece is about the long-term bed that my dad did get in Canmore, where he lived. This piece is called Present Continuous. Beginning with how to get to the lost beginnings of loss, as lost as his memory of the morning's breakfast, lost as yesterday or the day before that, or the last day. The landscape outside his hospital window was in flower, in leaf. The beginnings of his last breath lodged in the room itself. And how many times he asked my mother to take him home, but this is now home. How many times before pushing her way out of the ward, to the lobby, to the parking lot, to her car, to her single woman's apartment, to cry out her loss. That was when he had a voice, when he could still make sense, make sentences taking place in the slipping away past tense. In the end, it all became present, the past, Even 20 minutes passed. 20 minutes didn't last. And it was today and today and today. And that was a version of hell. We thought all of it was hell and all were lost. Those stumbling souls closing the circular march round and round the restless clock of their days, weeks, months. It was hell, but it held angels in the worst of that present continuous, angels to wake them and walk them, a landscape of angels to spoon up the spilled and the lost. And of course, those angels are the nurses and healthcare aides who were so very good to my dad. I live in Edmonton, and my parents were in Canmore, so my visits were sporadic. And this is about one visit, a Thanksgiving visit, 5 months before he died. This is called Intense Light Blue. How to write my father's intense light blue eyes I now recognize as nearly blind to the present arranging itself hard before him, intense light blue. I recognize eyes that stare hard at me. We are off. I've never realized that intense light. Off by ourselves in a hall near an exit. Eyes that look at me from that blue recliner where someone has arranged him. In this dead-end hall, I see intense recognition. This Thanksgiving, he will look at me, look hard. He tries for casual and pulls one leg up to cross. This visit, he will stare at me like he knows me, crosses one leg over the other in his chair, almost casual, yet nearly blind to his living loss. Is it shame he feels when he sees me looking as he tries hard to arrange what is left of his life? Is it sadness for where he lives now? What does he see when he watches me stare? How do I write my father's intense light? I'm going to end with a poem called Calculating His Passage. My father is floating on his back on a bed of black water, his last bed. And with each rising breath, he is trying to push out from the dock into deeper, more merciful water nobody can see to the end of. You can see and not see what is waiting in the water, maybe calculating, maybe plotting to snatch him up the second he stops, like a trophy won out over life. There is an island in the middle of the nighttime lake. There is the black water of the lake itself. And he is trying to be everything in this water. He is trying to be of and inside and under. He is trying to move through this water to its conclusion. My father is trying to make the island, make his way there, float there on his back, where you can see and not see death, looking at stars, calculating my father, written on the screen of that same sky, waiting to be snatched up the second he stops. Thank you.